Your boy. Hash info. How you doing? How you doing? So the world is in peril, in turmoil. Who created it? So who says they are not going to tell us when a meteorite is going to hit the earth because it will enrage and it will create chaos within the people. But yet those same people right now, for the last 2 years, have created nothing but chaos and turmoil. And you can't get help if you need help. What does this mean? In Canada, Justin Trudeau had to stop his speeches. He had to stop his press tour that he took up in the last, like we have 19 days to decide here in Canada who's going to be our next president. We don't call them presidents, we call them prime ministers, because the UK, the Queen of England, still runs my country. See, the Queen of England's face is on our money, so we have to bow down to the Queen. When I grew up, a long time ago, I was in school. Picture yourself not even born, just a bubble in your dad's sack. I was in school here in Winnipeg, and we used to sing a song in French, in freaking French, and it was called God Save the Queen. No shit. True story. Well, I moved away, and wherever I moved to, it wasn't French. And we sang the same flippin' song, but in English. And I moved far away from where I was the first time. Think about this now. Still in Manitoba. Every school in Manitoba, up until, and I was the one. You want to know something? This is, I don't care what you say. Where I'm from, I used to say, and I'll never forget this, I used to say, no, I'm not singing God Save the Queen. I sing O Canada, the first 2 songs I played. First we sang O Canada, and then we sang God Save the Queen. Once I heard what the hell the song was in English, I was so dizzy, and it was bothering me. I'm like, why do I have 2 anthems? I knew every ounce of me, right up in my gonads. My huge gonads were like, something's not right, Hashy. And you know what? Turns out, something ain't right. Colonization of a planet with no living creatures on it would be fair if the colonizing group of people had nowhere else to lie their head and call it a home. But when there is an existing group of people that exist, and you come over in your boats with your dumbass long coats and your dumbass gray wigs that make you look like chicks, there's something wrong with you. When you think you can come to another country and colonize, make them forget their language, it's despicable. And that's happened here in Canada. So I have an asshole for a premier, and most of you don't know what a premier is. So we have a prime minister, which is equal to a president. That's federal. Now, federal government, most of you should be aware of that. The federal government are the ones that make the laws in America that enslave you, okay? They are the feds. The state also enslaves you, but for their own purposes, completely different than the feds. This is no joke. This is the serious part now. The state makes money off of you based on what state you live in and the rules that apply to you within that state, created by the church and the state. This is how you get what is called a Bible Belt. And that Bible Belt is where brainless, mindless people all give up their right to vote and vote for what their preacher or pastor tells them to do. This is not hearsay. If you've been alive, you know you've been coerced in a church setting at some point in your life. Period. Churches demand that you follow the book of God. But yet, when high up priests or preachers break the book of God, they're not are they not kicked out of the sacred circle, which is church, they are probably just transferred to another location, so that that state will get a new priest or preacher that, doesn't admit or show bad cycles of evil as clearly and transparently as the last preacher. Okay, and they'll take that other guy and they'll place him back in another place. It doesn't matter if he was harming children or what. They've rarely kicked out priests and preachers. Go look it up through time. In Canada, there's a long line of priests and preachers touching kids across Canada. Go look how many of them ever saw jails. Go look. It's despicable. Next point. The church and the state create laws down the Bible Belt, all the way from here, the Red River runs in Winnipeg, all the way down to Mississippi, the Red River runs. And the Bible Belt runs that same friggin' line. And go look at the laws in Mississippi. It's freaking harsh there. And anywhere in between, North Carolina, Kentucky, Missouri, you got a ton of redneck anti-human rights laws that are created to prevent human rights from existing. They're enslaving people by the hundreds daily in every state that I just named, plus anyone adjacent to it. Next up, so Trudeau was very scared because he couldn't do his lies. He couldn't tell his lies, and the other politicians were still able to go on and tell their lies, but Trudeau had to stop his lies for the day. He wasn't allowed to talk anymore because there was too much of a threat for his volunteers. So it's weird. Even the volunteers were being targeted, Trudeau. And here's the thing. Were the volunteers equally vocal about you having to give up your rights and freedoms as Trudeau was? Then tell them to shut up too. Because here in Canada, rights and freedoms are all we have left. Once those are gone, we are no different than America, where you are 100% enslaved. Right now here in Canada, good people are being arrested by the tools the government put in place to arrest those who peacefully protest, who peacefully stand against harsh governing bodies and laws that are unjust. This is, we may have to dismantle police because of the fact that the governments of the world are using the police improperly. We may have to police our own villages and communities. Your own block may have to be policed by the 7 or 10 men on each side of the street. This would ensure that as long as the men were good men, right? It's hard not to find a good man. It's easier to find a bad man in a political setting or in a pharmaceutical lab, isn't it? So I'm less concerned about the fate of humanity if we take away the tools that are burdening us and we empower ourselves with tools to better our schools, our systems, the structures we put in place to safeguard each other. The system safeguards corporation from ever receiving punishment. We pay taxes while the richest men and women, dirtiest men and women in the world do not pay taxes and make millions and millions of dollars a year. I don't understand how Obama lives in a $20 million mansion right now. I don't understand how George Bush and Senior or Junior have the money that they have. We are not governing the richest people in the world. We are allowing them to govern us. And I don't mean the government, I mean the richest people in the world are creating private armies, private militaries, private security firms to not only protect them, but protect the views in which they put out. So social media has been really good at you are able to click on a link, which then takes you to someone else. The videos you're watching are tools for put in place by other tools, which are people who are social media influencers of all kinds. You can get a smaller social media influencer to post a CIA link just as easily as you can get propaganda link. I should be specific. You can get a small social media you can get a small social media influencer to post a CIA propaganda link. It means it's a false flag link, okay? Very bad. Very bad. Once you click that link, the header at the top says something like, you hate all, or the video, I have to be specific. The video will say, watch as the crowd, belittles a government worker, right? Or a president of some country. Now that CIA link will, when you click on it, it shows that first thing it does is it gives them information that you're interested, that you have a view on this topic. So that's important right out of the gate. Anybody who is into something will always click on something if it's catchy enough. And they know this. They know if they can get a perfect picture of a thumbnail plus a good header that links you and lumps you with this type of people, then they've already done a lot of legwork without doing any legwork. You literally pushed a button that told them you like this kind of shit. The next thing that happens is if you comment down below on that video, it then pools that information with what they just gathered that they know now that you like. And it could say this. Your comment would say, yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm going to the next protest next week to ensure that these people hear how much I hate them. Then they now know that you, not only are you into this type of thing, you like protests that are involved with this person's name, they lump you that way. This has been going on for a long time on Twitter, Facebook. They created this, it's like carnivore, but it's a specialized AI-driven carnivore that actually creates a profile on you based on what you say and what you click on the internet. Some of you may think, well, that's fine, it doesn't matter. What it's doing is literally lumping you, whether you are or aren't, whether you just were curious about the link and don't even care about either politician group or any politician group, it's lumping you. You could then go to the airport and be on a no-fly list the next day. Period. This is the future, and you won't understand. Go look at what happens in China. It's called an emotional score, emotional credit score. I have to Google it. I'll have to Google what China has implemented. We have here in Canada, North America, they have a credit score, but in China, they have already started using for about a year and a half, 3 years now, minimum. They probably started quietly, but now they're more vocal about, it's actually ongoing. China implements social credit system. Fuck, it's literally the top thing. This is what I typed in. China implements, second thing there. China implements social credit system. You all need to beware. This is what's next. And it's already been in North America, but it's only for corporations to collect data on you to decide if they have to shadow ban your YouTube channel, if they have to shadow ban, because they'll pay to do it, right? You're going to find out all this stuff is going to come out in about 5 years. I understand every bit of this. I need to join. This is sad. I need to join. I have to contact the government and create a council or join a council that oversees these scum suckers paying trillions of dollars and being de like stripped of all power they had. The platform itself can stay, but no one involved after today or when this thing drops, like the lawsuit and the full class action drops, these people will be in jail. All the people from any platform, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, that were techies, IT specialists, all jail. Any telephone companies, any internet companies, IT specialists that were using your information for these companies, jail. Watch, it's coming. You have no idea. The power of the people is getting powerful. Stay tuned for more great videos. Just